Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience. We are now going to call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, you prepared to take minutes? Okay, and we are now streaming live?
Yes.
Okay, please note the time is 7:16. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our first meeting of 2024 for Brooklyn Community Board 9. I hope everyone has had a happy and blessed holiday season and that your new year is kicked off well and is off to a great start. I welcome all the board members back. We have a lot of work to do. As you may recall, we did not have quorum in December. So we do have a number of items that need to come back for this month. We have a full agenda for this evening. I'm going to ask in advance, please, for everyone to make sure that we are brief and concise with any points we make. Please make sure we're adhering to all time limits. When you're waived by staff, please make sure you note that, and please end your comments on time. I would also ask, yes, so again, we have a full agenda for this evening. And we are going to begin now. So the next section would be for the rules of order. We are going to waive the reading of the rules of order for this month. The rules of order, the rules of conduct can be found on the Community Board 9 website. I would ask, please, everyone to note that speakers are only allowed to speak or only get the floor once they've been recognized by the chair. So if you are recognized, at that point you will have the floor. Again, I would please ask that you respect the time as we have a full agenda this evening. Keep any comments or questions brief. Please make sure you get straight to the point. And we are going to try and make sure our best that we complete this agenda today. All right, we are now going to move. We have a couple of moving parts this evening, so we're going to be moving in those first few agenda items. Actually, I would ask if first, do we have our Euler, our land use chair? Is she here this evening? All right, if I could ask you to come up and talk about some of the items you have, and then we're going to come back to the applications a little bit after that.
Hi. Hi. Okay. So the first thing we have is a resolution on the 975 Nostrand Avenue Fresh Supermarket application. For those of you who weren't here in December, I'll read it out again. Whereas an affordable supermarket has existed for over 50 years at 975 Nostrand Avenue, and the current lack of a supermarket at this location has created a food desert for parts of Crown Heights and Prospect Lefferts Garden, Community Board 9 approves the Fresh Program application to enable the Associated Supermarket to return to this location. And just by way of background, there is a new development going up on that lot. It's a 9-story building. So the Associated Supermarket will be returning to the ground floor. The second item that we have is a resolution on the Green Fast Track rule changes to the city environmental quality review process. Many of you are familiar with environmental reviews. They're very important when there's a new development or a rezoning. For example, with Vital Brooklyn, there was a environmental review. Franklin Avenue, there was an environmental review. And the city is proposing to eliminate required environmental reviews when a housing development has less than a certain number of units, and that is 150 units in the low density districts, R1 through R4, and 250 units in the higher density districts, R5 and above. And also, as long as it's not in a landmark district, right next to a park, or in a flood zone, and it meets certain energy efficiency requirements. However, we're very concerned that this would still leave out a lot of things that need to be reviewed. And so, should I keep? So here's our proposed Green Fast Track resolution. Whereas CB9 believes the environmental review process can be expedited in terms of how long it takes city planning to review applications. However, we are concerned about the loss of review for sensitive or contentious developments. The accuracy of environmental reviews for developments such as the 2017 Franklin Avenue rezoning have been disputed, resulting in lengthy court cases. Environmental reviews provide a crucial tool for the community to understand a project's impact and raise concerns. Whereas in particular, we believe that the limit stated for exemption should be calibrated to the context of the community. 250 feet tall is too high for a community like CB9, where such a project should be reviewed for shadow impacts. Most buildings in Community Board 9 are less than 50 feet tall. Projects contiguous with the Brooklyn Botanic Garden should also be reviewed for shadow impact, even though it is not a public park. We are concerned that this exemption would give incentives to developers to understate the number of units to evade environmental review and later increase them, or split projects into smaller projects that fall under the limits for the environmental review. CB9 believes that instead we need cumulative environmental review for all projects within a certain radius, whether they are type 1 or type 2 projects. In fact, we call on the City Council to pass legislation requiring comprehensive environmental reviews for all new developments, both as of right or via rezoning, anytime there has been a 5% or greater increase in the number of housing units, or a 10% or greater increase in population within a community district within a decade. So, I mean, we know that this has happened in Community Board 9, Community Board 8, Community Board 14. We've had thousands of new units go up. Most of them are actually as of right. They're not pursuant to a rezoning, and there hasn't been an environmental review, and this has put a lot of stress on our infrastructure of all kinds, as well as traffic, shadows, other things. And we think that there needs to be these regular environmental reviews in all of these communities. So resolved that CB9 calls on the Department of City Planning to share with the public and this community board the data and studies of 1,000 environmental applications over the past decade that they are using in support of the Green Fast Track Amendment to eliminate environmental reviews for certain projects. So what they were saying is the reason they want to eliminate these environmental reviews is that they're expensive and lengthy, and they want to be able to make it easier to build housing. We're not really sure that it has the impact that they're saying that it has, so we'd like to see the data that they used for those studies, and we have seen some of that, but we think we still need more details. For example, if a project that's $100 million costs $100,000 to do an environmental review, that's a drop in the bucket. We really need to understand where the time delays are coming from and what it costs to do an environmental review for a given project. So the third item that we have is the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity text amendments. And this actually has two parts to it. There's the main body of the Economic Opportunity text amendments, and then there's the casino gaming facility text amendment. Basically what this is a fairly sweeping overhaul of the zoning code for commercial businesses, for commercial development. The zoning code regulates what commercial uses can go where. So for example, we have retail districts that are overlay districts that are mixed with residential housing. That's like Flatbush Avenue, Nostrand Avenue, Kingston Avenue, for example. And those can have certain types of businesses that are deemed not to be hazardous to residential uses that are compatible with residential. And then we have manufacturing districts, and we have our C8 districts, which are automotive districts. So a lot of that is expected to, and then we have residential districts that do not allow commercial businesses at all. So a lot of that is expected to change under these new proposed amendments, and we are, quite concerned about that, about the impact of that. The city has issued a negative environmental assessment indicating that there would be no impact. We don't agree. These are very sweeping citywide text amendments that impose the same rules in every district. Do I have time to read the resolution or the front part of the resolution? Okay, so I won't read it, but you all can pick up a copy on the left side here if you didn't in December. And so if there's any questions, okay.
All right, actually, can you also introduce the
Oh, the gaming
text?
facility text amendment. Okay, so as you know, there are proposals to allow 3 casino licenses downstate, that's Long Island plus New York City. And the city's zoning code doesn't clearly allow casinos. So the city also wants to change the zoning code to allow casinos in certain districts, C4 through C6 districts, C8 districts, and M1 manufacturing districts. However, they would not be reviewed through the normal ULURP process. It would be reviewed through a special commission composed of 2 local elected officials and 4 state or citywide elected officials. And it could be approved by 4 out of the 6. So actually your local elected officials don't have to vote for it either. And the community boards also wouldn't vote on it. So our statement was the following. CB9 opposes the gaming facilities zoning text amendment, which would permit gaming facilities of unlimited size in our commercial districts, including our C8 and M1 districts. We do not believe a casino or other gaming facility is appropriate anywhere in our district and object to community boards being removed from the approval process. And any questions? I know that was a lot. Yeah.
Okay, at this time we will take a few questions. How many members, board members or members of the audience have questions? Okay, Mr. Norval, I see you. Anyone else have questions?
Here.
Okay, sir, I see you as well. Hold on. I see 3, 4. We're gonna cap. Yeah, we're gonna cap. I see you. I see you. We're gonna cap at those 4 questions. We have a very, very big agenda this evening. Mr. Norval, go ahead. You have the floor first with your question.
So yeah, first question is, are we trying to completely stop the removal of the environmental study requirements, or are you more flexible in perhaps having them reduce the unit size requirements for that?
So we are largely opposed to this removal of the environmental review requirements, but we do think we need more data, which we have asked for to better understand, what is the need for this. Because as we said, we agree that it's good to, get these applications moving in a timely fashion. But, we'd like to really understand where that need is coming from, and yeah.
Just to add to that, as I understand it, they're trying to do this to shorten the process, speed it up, and probably have more housing go through because there seems to be a demand for that. My second question is, what would you suggest doing if they do have these environmental impact studies and you simply just disagree with the results, like in the casino situation?
Right, so I'm not sure what the relationship to the casino situation is, but when there is an environmental impact study, right, and you disagree with the results, you can challenge it. And that is very often what we've seen in our district when developers have had environmental impact studies, like for example, the Franklin Avenue. The community disagreed with some of the things that they put down, and they brought a lawsuit to challenge it. It's also a very important tool for elected officials to understand what impact it's going to have on their community. And if these studies are not done, because they fell under the size limit, people may not realize that there would be that impact. For example, shadow impacts are sometimes not that obvious. You could have a building that is 20 stories and that is not next to a park that's a block away, but because shadows can be extremely long at the end of the day, it might still have a shadow impact. And we wouldn't know that without the environmental impact study that shows the shadow impact. And it's not that hard for the developer to do. I mean, there's software that does all of these things. It doesn't take 6 months just to do that, or $100,000. It's the back and forth with city planning, I'm assuming, that takes time. So, you know, we're not opposed to saying that the city government should be efficient, just that we want the studies to be done, you know.
Okay, thank you. We'll recognize Mr. Walters.
Good evening. I just wanted to.
Mr. Walters, would you
Yes.
please
All right.
use the
All
microphone
right.
that
My
way?
voice goes out there.
I know, but this is for the people online.
Okay. Sorry. Well, I just want to say, as far as the casino situation, that there should be more representation on that committee by the board members and the local politicians, not this group of people, you know, enclosed to themselves making decisions.
Thank you very much. Wait.
All right, I believe Ms. Boyd was the third person recognized.
Now that we have the public advocate here, he might be able to answer this question, because he was one of the people that would actually push for the what was that called? Where you put in development into a black community and you might affect the neighborhood if it's luxury. What was that called? It was an environmental review that they had to do. What was it? Yes. So if you pass this zoning amendment that allows 25 stories not to have an environmental impact, and you become a type 2, then you're not subject to that, correct? Well, that's the question, right? The question is that you have a racial impact study that developers have to do when they come into black communities and communities of color if they're going to build, correct? Especially if they're asking for a rezoning. If they become type 2 means they get exempt from environmental review. Does that not also apply with the racial impact? Well, I'm asking to the person who pushed the law. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we should not be supporting this, because we are a black community. If they're bringing in 25-story buildings and they don't have to do an environmental impact, they also don't have to do a racial impact either. So they don't have to tell us how that luxury development is going to happen in our community. So, wait, there was one other thing, the casino. What people don't understand is that even if you don't pass this amendment, and the state still decides that a casino can come into your community, they have to do a ULURP process. So it has to come in front of the community board. Right now, that's the law. It has to come here. Okay, the question is it not true, Suki, that if you pass this text amendment, then right now, they have to go through the ULURP process. They have to come in front of the community board. We get an opportunity to review it. Our city council has the opportunity to vote on it. But if you pass this text amendment, that whole process goes away.
That's correct.
Thank you. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to disempower ourselves by not having community input in a casino. A $2 billion industry coming into our neighborhood on Empire Boulevard, and don't think they ain't looking at Empire Boulevard, okay?
One more thing I have to say about Green Fast Track really quickly. If you look at the EAS, it actually says they don't just want to remove the city environmental quality review, but also the state environmental quality review. So first of all, I'm not sure how the city can change a state law, but that would mean that, you know, in developments like Vital Brooklyn, where there's no rezoning and no ULURP review, there would also be no environmental review. So same thing with Atlantic Yards. The only thing the community had was environmental review. So just something to think about.
Okay, hold on, before you go, there was one more, yes, Courtenay, please. Last question.
Suki, you may have just kind of touched on this, but my question was if, like how the state environmental review interplays with the city, and if the city isn't doing one, would the state do one, or is it like eliminating both?
It's not clear to me, but in the in some of the wording in the EAS that was issued for this Green Fast Track Amendment, they said it was to eliminate SEQR and CEQR, and that is a big question in my mind, as it is, I'm sure it is in yours.
Thank you very much. And at this time, I also do want to thank the chair, and I want to thank the Land Use Committee, and I also want to thank the subcommittee for City of Yes for all the hard work that they've done, the research, the hours, and everything they've done to get us to this point. Okay, so these three proposals we'll be considering this evening as part of the business session. At this time, we are going to depart from the agenda momentarily. We do have a great honor. We have the New York City Public Advocate, Jumaane Williams, with us this evening. And at this time, he has some remarks he'd like to share with the community district. Mr. Williams, please. Ms. Williams.
Thank you so much. Peace and blessing, love a lot, everyone. Thank you, Chair, the entire board, folks who are here, members, people I know, Councilwoman Crystal Hudson, and to Ms. Boyd's question, I'm definitely going to try to find out if there's any exemption to the racial impact study. I don't know. Elizabeth Kenny from my office, my Deputy Public Advocate for Education and Opportunities here. She's often here. I will get some information. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. The reason I came today is many folks may be seeing on the news a couple of bills that were vetoed by the mayor. And to my astonishment, actually, there's just a lot of lies and misinformation being told about them. And so I wanted to try to move around as much space as I can, just so folks actually know what the bills do and don't do. So today I wanted to focus on what was called the How Many Stops Act. And you may have heard about the How Many Stops Act and some of the things that are being said. I want to thank Councilmember Hudson, who was a part of the How Many Stops Act. Her bill passed as well, and she supports this bill and will be voting for the override. So thank you so much for your leadership. So people may remember about a decade ago, there was abuses of stop, question, and frisk. I think everybody kind of universally understands that that was a thing that we had to push back. The reason that we got there is because we had data, and the data was able to back up what was happening, even though people said it wasn't. There was a remedial process that was put in place to try to fix some of the abuses. And the person in charge of the remedial process has said, based on his review, that currently 25% of stops that are happening are still unconstitutional, 97% of them are black and brown. Anecdotally, we have heard people in the streets saying they're being stopped, and what sounds like a level 3, and it gets confusing, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is an arrest, 3 is what you normally think of stop, question, and frisk. But it sounded like they weren't counted because what the monitor said is there's a lot of undercounting of stops. Officers are either not recording it properly, or they're saying a level 3 is a level 2, or level 2 is a level 1. And the monitor actually recommended that we get more data on the level 1s and 2s. And so what we said is let's try to find out how we can get that information the simplest way possible. And right now, without this bill, when officers finish their tour, they have to tag all of the levels of stops that they've had. And so when they have a level 1 stop, right now, however it's defined, however we define it and we put in the bill, just so people are clear, based on what they said, we put in the bill that this is not for regular or general conversation, like asking about an address. We put it in the bill. What they're now saying is that there's a superseding thing that says the other stops are level 1s. So I don't want to argue about definition. Whatever they think a level 1 is, right now after the officer's tour, they have to review their body cam footage and tag level 1s right now. And then they go to level 2, they tag it and answer some additional questions like demographics. Right now, they have to answer the apparent gender and the apparent race of a level 2. We didn't make that up. And so what we said is, okay, let's try to get data on everything because we want to just know what's happening. And the easiest way to do it is just do it right when you're tagging. Or if you stop someone and you have time afterwards, just fill out what would usually be about a 10 to 20 second drop-down menu on your Spark form. There's no paperwork. Officers don't fill out paperwork. They don't use paper anymore. So that everyone has a smartphone. So if I stop someone, if I'm walking back to the car, I'm walking back to my post, just fill it out right there. It takes 10 to 20 seconds. If that's not the easiest way to go, if you're in the middle of an investigation, you're trying to find someone who caused harm or a serial knifer, you should not stop because you wouldn't stop normally. Just keep doing your investigations, and at the end of the tour, you fill it out. They are putting something out saying that you cannot finish your investigation because you have to stop and fill out a form. That makes no sense. They have to fill out level 2s and level 3s now. They do that at the end of the tour, not while they're asking the questions. We also took some of the minimal input we got from the police department who asked us to add an additional question, and we did that as well. Lastly, one of the things that they're saying is if there's a missing child, and they have to ask a lot of people about that missing child, or if there's a shooting, I come in here and say, did anybody hear anything? They have to fill out all the forms for everyone. And we said, no, you shouldn't do that. That will take a lot of time. Why don't you make one form, call it a mass questioning form. At the end of the tour, when you'd have to tour tag that because it's a level 1, just put in there 20 people and the demographics. So that form may take 30 seconds, but that's not the likelihood of everything that you're going to be doing. So at the heart of this, it's actually just a reporting bill. We're trying to get a report out of what's happening. The information is already on the body-worn cameras, but all of us, excuse me, can't look at hours and hours of footage, but we can look at a report that gets from that footage. And so they do a report now, even with the level 1s, but the monitor said that we need to get some more information. If we leave the level 1s out, then we won't have a full picture. What then will happen is every stop will be now a level 1 stop because I don't have to provide the information. And so what we said is, okay, let's just get a minimum amount of information from every stop so that there's no anecdotal discussion. Everybody's looking at the same thing, and we can all figure out how the best way to move forward. And so there's a lot of misinformation on there. I am actually stunned by what the mayor is now saying a level 1 stop is not even a stop. Like, there's this wildness occurring, and I just cannot understand what's happening. So we're just trying to go around to quell people's fears, because people are concerned about safety, and when you hear the mayor saying your safety is going to be compromised, it's hard to hear. But our bill actually doesn't do that. There's a very, very difficult way to do this, and a very, very, very easy way to do this. Why they're trying to put forth the hardest way, you have to ask them. So, if I don't know, it's busy. I know it's a very busy night. I'm happy to take questions if folks have, but I wanted to make sure I came here and just express what's actually going on in that bill. One, two.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Sure.
Good to see you. I'm no expert in law enforcement, but I have been reading some of the reports. My question to you is, if in fact it's true that it will require more paperwork, and it will require the officers to do additional work and take them off the streets, would you support giving more funds to the police to have more officers to make up for the time that they're doing this paperwork? Again, I'm disputing that, but I'm no expert to take your side against the mayor's side. Do you support providing more funding to the police to make up for the time that they take them to do this additional paperwork?
So what I would first say to that is, the bill that the mayor is talking about, I wouldn't support. It's just not a good bill, what he's talking about. Second of all, NYPD has always had access to overtime, even when the city council has cut it, always. And so if this in fact did create overtime, they have access to the funding to put the overtime. So that is another question that they're putting out there to try to distract from what's happening. And so what I want to make clear is that officers right now, without this bill in place, have to tag their stops. And so we're literally talking about how many additional seconds it would take to click a drop-down menu when they're tagging that. And whatever seconds that takes, it's very likely going to be negligible in the amount of time that they do it. And so there's just a huge exaggeration of what's happening, and it's very sad to see. But to your question, they have never not been able to get the overtime that they needed. Even when the big fights about defund, no defund, and it was slashed, they still got the overtime that they needed to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to say
Sir,
that.
if you could just use the mic. Thanks so much.
A lot of the arguments that we're hearing about it's going to be burdensome, they use the same logic when we were asking for body cameras. And I remember that every union, every police union in the country was against it and said it would burden officers and possibly put them at danger. And I think the data is out now to show that it in fact made their jobs safer. Is there any way we could link it data-wise to the proposed legislation?
So, to that point, every single living time we put forward something to do with transparency on the police department, we hear the same thing. From Giuliani to Adams, it's gonna handcuff the police. By the way, the mayor supported this exact bill 2 years ago. The only thing that's changed in 2 years is we've taken some of the NYPD's input. He told families who lost loved ones to law enforcement that he supported level 1 and 2s. I don't know what's changed since then, but you're right, that included body cams. And when you talk to officers, they now love the body cams because they feel like they were protected. Nothing has come of any of the transparency bills. The gloom and doom has never happened. The last time I was in a battle like this, which I didn't expect this to be, when we dealt with the Abuse of Stop, Question, Frisk and the Community Safety Act, we were told the sky was going to fall, black and brown people fall from it, and they would destroy the entire city. That did not happen. We actually went on a 10-year historic decline in crime. And so, if you're a victim of crime, data doesn't matter. And so there's a lot of folks who are victims of crime, and I want to honor them. But the stories that are often told very much exaggerate what's happening. But the communities that are dealing with crime have been doing it historically. And we know that our law enforcement are partners. We want to make sure that they can do the job with transparency and accountability. And in order to do that, like we do with any department, we put measures in place. This is the simplest way to do this. As a matter of fact, we continue to ask the PD, how can we do this as easy as possible? They refuse to engage. We literally lifted language from the patrol guide to do this. And so it's very strange to hear what the mayor and some of the law enforcement folks are saying. Thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy your peace.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Keep up the great work, and please always feel free to stop by CB9 anytime. Thank you. Okay, we're going to return back to the agenda. At this time, I would ask is the housing chair here? Okay, we are now going to consider the application for the Landmarks Preservation Commission for 418 Rogers Avenue.
Yes, the applicant is here for this application, so I'm gonna cede my time to them to go over brief overview. The executive committee voted on this, so, and I think the recommendation from the housing committee is approval.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Weiss, and I'm the owner and architect at 418 Rogers Avenue. This is JC. He's been working with me on the design and construction of this building. I purchased the building in 2020, and I've spent the majority of 2023 renovating it. My architecture design firm's in the storefront office space, and I rent out the 2 apartments above it. 418 Rogers is a landmark building in Prospect Lefferts in the historic district on Rogers Avenue between Sterling and Lefferts. We're here today to discuss the rear facade of the building, which faces west and looks out onto the backyards of all the buildings along Sterling and Lefferts. We were initially approved by the LPC at staff level to power wash, repoint, and seal the existing brick. But during construction, we discovered that the parch coat, which is a cementitious coating on the brick, couldn't be removed without a full sandblast. This method would permanently scar the brick and is prohibited by the LPC. Instead, we made the decision to stucco the back of the building and encapsulate the brick with a breathable coating. We felt this was in the best interest of preserving the brick. We took this information to Landmarks, they flagged the application, and requested some additional context from the neighborhood. So we came here today to present this to you for your approval so that we can complete the filing with the LPC. The stucco that we used for the rear facade meets the LPC guidelines for being breathable, allowing water vapor to escape, thereby protecting the brick underneath. When we selected the stucco in the particular color, we were looking at the context of our neighboring buildings, which is a typical LPC guideline. Many buildings have employed a similar approach, so we felt we were being consistent with the neighborhood. You can see the primary visibility of the rear facade is from other people's backyards, and there's very little visibility of our rear facade from Lefferts Avenue. In conclusion, we applied the stucco with the best intent of keeping the character of the neighborhood and preserving the brick beyond. We understand that we jumped the gun by not getting prior approval with the LPC. We strongly believe that the finished product is in keeping with the historic character of Prospect Lefferts Gardens. Your support in this matter would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, before you leave, actually, if you can also clarify, so this application, what is the status of this application? So the work is done already, correct?
That is correct.
So what is the purpose, what are we doing at this point for the board?
You're hearing our case, and your approval means something to the LPC when they look at our application next.
Is this a retroactive approval that happens since the work has already been done?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, all right, we can take 2 questions for the applicant at this time. Suki, we see you.
Can you come up and use the mic, please? That'll be free for everybody tonight, so come up and use the mic. It's for our people online.
Just by way of background, this question is either to you or to the chair of housing. Are these changes something that would normally be approved at staff level? Is it only going before the commission because it's like a retroactive legalization?
That is correct.
Okay.
If we had applied for stucco from the get-go, we would not be approved at staff level, and we would have eventually had to come through this process, presenting to you guys, and then getting this legalized at the LPC.
All right, are there any other questions for the applicant? Okay, we have one other question.
Okay,
All right.
Dante, can you run the mic, please? Thank you.
My question is you started doing the work on the property knowing it's landmark and deemed and decided to do something against the landmark regulations and policy. Why would we support that when you knowingly did it? You want to ask forgiveness instead of approval? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I completely understand, and it's a tough position that we're in right now because we've done some test patches, and it would be difficult to remove the stucco at this point because it is pretty bonded to the.
No, I'm talking about before you used it.
I understand that. We really did believe that we were acting in the best interest of the material that we're working with, and also we know the LPC guidelines very well, and we were trying to follow them to the best of our ability.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to be considering your application as part of the public, as part of the business session. You are more than welcome to stay for the vote. Otherwise, we will let you know what the determination of the board is. Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we are now going to move on to the applications for the State Liquor Authority. At this time, I would ask if our first vice chair could present the applications for this evening.
Thank you. Primo Lasana, first vice chair. I was formerly the chair of the SLS Public Safety Committee. Our current public safety chair is unable to join us tonight, so me having been at the Public Safety Committee this last month, will do my best to stand in absentia for the chair and represent these licenses. I know that we are busy tonight. We would like to move through them. The first applicant will be Ish, restaurant that many of you are familiar with at 43 Lincoln Road. Just to do a brief overview of the application, this is a renewal application for a full liquor license The hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. And this is a restaurant that is owned by a member of the community who can also come up and speak a little bit on behalf of the restaurant and its impact in our neighborhood. And then at the chair's discretion, we can or cannot take questions.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Anna Prince. I'm the owner of Ish Restaurant. I've been in the neighborhood for the last 15 years. I own Taqueria El Patron also. We've been there for 9 years. And Ish has been there for 7 years. And we're doing a renewal of full liquor license. And
Take two questions from the audience. We have Stephen Boyd, and so let's start there.
Have you received any complaints through the New York City Police Department for your establishment over the last couple of years?
no, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Last call for questions? No questions. Okay, thank you, Ms. Prince, for coming, and thank you for your work in our community over the last several years. To address Ms. Boyd's question, I want to say this: for all applications that come through the community board, our office staff checks with the NYPD and the FDNY for complaints at all locations, and we will notify you if there are complaints at any locations. Okay. Up next is an application from Rodeo Brooklyn, which is located at 1134, 1136 President Street, which is between Rogers Avenue and Nostrand Avenue. This is a new application, and what I will say, so, you know, they're applying for, I believe, a full license. Correct me if I'm wrong when the applicant comes up. They are looking to start a new business in the neighborhood, and they came to our committee meeting, and we had what I would regard as a negotiation around hours, which I think is important. We're not here in this space to negotiate hours, but we did that work in the committee. And the original hours were posted as Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the application, Friday and Saturday, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the application, and then Sunday from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Those hours were not found to be in the best interest of, you know, the audience that was present at the meeting. And so as a result, the applicant agreed to downsize their hours by the following. So Sunday through Wednesday would be 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Thursday would be 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. and Friday and Saturday, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. So those were concessions that were made by the applicant, and what we would do in this instance would essentially attach a rider to the application and state that we would only grant this application should the revisions of hours be made to this application. That is the stance of the SLA committee, the Public Safety Committee. At this point, you know, I would encourage the applicant to come up and speak a little bit about the business that they're intending to bring to the community. And what I would ask you to do as well is I'd ask you to speak a little bit about the soundproofing that you're looking to do to the space, because I know that that is something that the community is certainly concerned with.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Sam Geller from Rodeo Brooklyn. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, we're gonna try and have a nice bar and a record store. Looking forward to having a space that's open and inviting to people from all over, and really excited to get it open. Soundproofing, yeah, we've already we have contractors that are already been hired, and it's a pretty extensive process, but I think it's really important. We've also been having conversations with the people that live in the building who are really excited about it. But yeah, so we have the soundproofing. It's a really important aspect of the project to get it going. One thing I'll clarify: the hours, the closing hours that you said were correct, but the opening hours, yeah, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I noticed it. Okay, At this point, we'll take 2 questions. So I see a hand here and a hand here. Okay, so if you could please come to the front so that you can get the mic, that would be incredibly helpful.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
I live in Bed-Stuy. My business partners lived in this district for 5 years, I believe.
Okay, great. So you're not born and raised in Brooklyn, not born and raised in Crown Heights?
That's correct.
What made you come to Crown Heights to place a business with those hours?
As I said, my business partner lives in this neighborhood. Together we run a bar in Fort Greene right now, and he feels like he was looking at spaces in this neighborhood and asked me to if I was interested in joining, and I am very much so.
Okay. With the impact that most often now there's no smoking inside of businesses to that effect, individuals will come outside of the location. Have you thought about the quality of life and sound issue, being that your business hours are extended past midnight in a predominantly residential area?
Sorry, can you say that again?
I've asked you.
Have I thought about that? Yeah. Of course.
Is that consideration of the impact in regards to the quality of life of the individuals in that neighborhood?
Of course.
Or on that block?
And I really believe that bars have to operate as responsible community members and responsible members of where they live, and it's of tantamount importance to me in the bar that we run now and the bar that we hope here that everyone will take all the necessary steps to make sure that the neighbors are respected.
And what are those necessary steps? What steps will you be taking into place? Okay, I'll follow up with you at the end.
Okay, yeah. I think it's...
We're going to take that last question, and if you can speak to it.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question also, and I think that there is some really meaningful steps that we can take. Certainly, there is a certainly no one will be allowed outside the bar to congregate outside the bar past.
Here's a suggestion. I think you should come back to us with a more well thought out plan, because this doesn't seem as though it's actually something that has action items and next steps, and it is beginner residential planning. It didn't seem as though you were prepared for this, so I don't think that it is something that you have thought about with the community, and it's a quality of life issue, and we don't need any more of this. So I think that you should come back and say.
With all we can have a conversation with the applicant about security as well. Thank you.
Hi. So you checked off on your application that you are looking for patron dancing. That is currently... but that is currently not allowed in your zoning district under the zoning rules. And as a matter of fact, I think your location does not have any commercial overlay zoning at all. You're in a completely residential zone. I don't know if you're aware of that. And then the live music also in a C1 or C2 district, which is what some of the surrounding blocks have, requires a special permit, a BSA special permit for the live music. And so I'm wondering if you've applied for the BSA special permit and if you're aware that dancing is actually not permitted in this zoning district.
So we, upon further investigation during our initial hearing, we were made aware of the zoning things, and we've changed we've withdrawn live performance from our application.
And the dancing.
The dancing was not an issue that came up in the subcommittee at all.
Okay.
We certainly have all.
I apologize. I was not able to speak to that during the subcommittee meeting. But this has been actually what we've been discussing for the last few months, that this is something that's not allowed in this zoning district. And I recall during the subcommittee meeting that during the public safety committee meeting that you've got a record store side and a bar. Is that correct? And you're only going to do the live events on the record side. And my suggestion, there's an actual physical separation between those two, that on the record store side, you're not required. you're not required to seek that special permit. It's only if you are a bar or restaurant that's seeking to do dancing and live music. So, you know, is there going to be a physical separation between the two sides?
Yeah, there is a physical separation between the two sides, yeah. And that's a helpful suggestion, I appreciate it.
Can everyone speak?
Okay, thank you everyone for expressing your questions and your concerns. Do appreciate it. I would ask the representative from Joseph Dreamberger to make their way to the front so that they would be able to speak after I give a brief overview. So our final application, third application, is from Joseph Dreamberger, which is located at 333 Kingston Avenue between President and Union Streets. This is a new application. It is a restaurant with a full menu that is applying for only a beer and cider license. Their hours of operation will be Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. They will be closed on Friday, and then they will open again. Their hours of operation are 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And so, sorry, just Sunday? Just Sunday, thank you. I wrote Sunday only, and then I said Saturday and Sunday. And the music there will be recorded music only, and we have a representative here from the restaurant. Would love to give you the opportunity to say a little bit about what you're bringing to the community and a little bit about your restaurant.
Hi everyone, and thank you to the board. I'm not a public speaker, so this is a little intimidating for me, so I hope if I fluster, if I say anything incorrect, you guys would give me a pass. Thank you. In regards to Joseph's Dreamberger, so Joseph's is a franchise, privately owned. We have 3 other locations except for this one, so we are 4th. We have another license in Coney Island. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar, but we've been serving the burgers for about 20 years now, and I might be biased, but it's the best burger I've ever tasted, and I hope you guys would all come and enjoy one. We have been offering family-friendly dining. That's really our focus at an affordable price. Kosher markets are a little bit different. The McDonald's dollar menu does not exist in a kosher world, unfortunately. But we are able to offer an extremely discounted burger, and we think an extremely amazing discounted burger to the public for family-friendly people to bring their children, people to bring their loved ones and enjoy a good dining.
At this point, we'll take 2 questions from the community. I see one here, and I see one in the back. Questions, not comments.
Yeah, that works. I just have questions about like your style of dining. Is this going to be a fast service, a full dining service, and what kind of accommodations are we going to be for seating, or if it's grab and go food?
So it's going to be fast food. It won't be like server menus. There's not going to be anybody bringing the food to your table. That's the question. In regards to seating, are you asking how many seats? Sorry, how many seats? It's going to be 2 floors. How large? In regards to seats, it's around, I don't know the exact number, but around like 60 something.
So I guess the application is an 880 square foot space with a maximum occupancy of 74.
Yeah. So it's, but I think it's like 68 seats or something, 67.
There was a second question. Sorry?
Thank you guys, and thank you to you guys for your amazing service. I really appreciate it.
No, they're not here. Okay, those are our 3 SLA applications. We are going to consider them in the business session. And I know that folks see that there's an OCM application on the agenda for today. That OCM applicant is unable to join us at this meeting. As a result, we are going to table that conversation, that vote, at the next meeting once the applicant is able to come here and respond to questions from the community. So they will be present at the February meeting. At this point, we're going to move along through the agenda. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, First Vice Chair. At this time, we're going to go on to the next agenda item, which is the CIR SEIU letter of support. I would ask if our second Vice Chair would take this item. Is there any representative from CIR SEIU? Okay, hold on one second. Please come to the front and we'll introduce you.
Good evening, everyone. Medical residents, I think this is the representative from the union. They came to petition for letter of support. And the residents, they ruled Queens County Hospital and Downstate Hospital. So because of the essence of time, I will let you hear from. So this is a summary as to what the letter of support.
Good evening, all. I didn't know I was going to actually be speaking. So, long story short, at Kings County as well as 7 other hospitals, we are currently in contract negotiations with the City of New York. The City of New York is saying that they will only put money at the table that will allow for our members. These are residents. Some may not even know what that means. Long story short, if you're at the emergency room at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's one of my members that's taking care of you, not an attending physician. When you go and take your kids to the hospital at Kings County or downstate, it's my members that are seeing you. The city is saying that we're not valuable enough to get paid to be equitable to hospitals like Brookdale, no disrespect, to hospitals like the Brooklyn Hospital Center. Hi, Crystal. So long story short, because we're not getting any movement at the table, we understand that we have to put different types of pressure to make the City of New York and to make the mayor in specific say that our members are worth more and are valuable. Again, I apologize, I would have had a member speak instead of me. So we came to the Health and Human Services, social service, because it's different. Long story short, we came here because the same way that we're trying to fight the city and using elected officials to do so, we also want the community support. Our members take care of every single man, woman, child, and patient that comes to the doors at Kings County and was looking for the community to give a similar type of support. Hey, Crystal, we should talk. So we are not only doing this here, like I said, we have 8 hospitals that we are representing our members at. Kings County is one of them, Woodhull is another one in Brooklyn, Coney Island, so those are our 3 Brooklyn hospitals. Our goal is to get support from across all communities so that this mayor does the right thing by our members. And I'm gonna make a shameless plug real quick. We are doing a community rally on the 31st in front of Kings County Hospital. If anyone here is from downstate, holler at me because I know there's a whole bunch of nonsense going on at downstate that we should talk about. Anything else you'd like me to say? All right, so I'm good.
Any questions? Anyone? Okay, we have a question from Ms. Boyd at the back.
This is a question to the board. I read the city charter. City charter, and you can answer this, Fred, does it empower a community board to engage in, representing sides in a union dispute? I'm not invalidating this man's position, but is this really our role? Is that the role of a community board? The community board have the authority to now interject in a union dispute with the city of New York. From what I read from the city charter, that is not the role of a community board, and you have not been empowered to do something like that. And I think you're going to be putting yourself in a very precarious position because now all the unions are going to be coming here asking for the same thing, and you're not even entitled to do it. So I think somebody might need to check with Corporation Counsel before this community board moves forward with doing this and setting precedent. Again, it has nothing to do with the validation of this man's argument with the union. I'm just talking about the rules that the community board is governed by. Thank you.
I'll allow the applicant to respond in a second. Wow, we're starting off the new year this way. Ms. Boyd, I don't necessarily disagree. But and I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear though. But the thing is, this is something that has come before our committee. The committee considered it, and we didn't want to kill it at the executive committee. We felt that this is a decision that was appropriate by the board. So the board will consider that information and will take an action as necessary, appropriate from there. But we wanted to bring it to the board as opposed to we kill this outright. And if there's any other due diligence that needs to be done, we can do that as well. But this is for the board to discuss this evening. It's one of the agenda items.
So before you sit down,
No, I was, to respond to your question, completely agree with you. Our letter of support that we're asking from the community board is to go to Mitchell Katz, who's the CEO of H&H, not towards the city of New York, partially because of what you're saying in terms of disputes between the city and unions. So our coming to the board is really to say the CEO of the entire system of H&H, the same way they're hearing from residents, the same way they're gonna hear from elected officials, we want them to hear from the communities that they serve, that these hospitals serve. So I do want to make that distinction in terms of what you said, but I really appreciate you raising that distinction.
one thing that I think, even though it is the legal part of it, you're standing here bringing this to our attention. A lot of us didn't know anything about that. So now we're informed because we can look at it as two ways. One is information, but elaborate on the first part. You are warning what? What is your mission? What is your goal? What is your focus?
Excellent, excellent. So right now in our contract negotiations, essentially what we want is to be paid the same wages as workers at Brookdale, as workers at OBH, as workers at other safety net hospitals. We have shown numbers to the city saying, look, if we accept the pattern that you're putting on the table, our members who work at County, who work at Coney Island, who work at Woodhull, are gonna be making $5,000 to $8,000 lower. And this is important, same thing with the nurses, when we talk about recruitment and retention. If our members are making $5,000 to $8,000 less, we can't have the best and brightest in Kings County because they'll say, you know what, I wanna work in this community, but I can get $8 grand more and go to OBH. I can get 10 grand more and go to Brooklyn Hospital Center. So our members want to make sure that we are able to recruit the best and the brightest for not just county, but for all our public safety net hospitals. So that's.
Okay, thank you very much. And again, we'll be considering this as part of the business session. All right, at this time, it's not on the agenda, but we do have one other item that we would like, at least one other presentation that we want to have very, very briefly. And at this time, I could call Yanela Romperi to come up, please, to speak about the Major Owens Center.
Good evening, everyone. And I am here tonight just to highlight for Community Board 9 residents, the Major R. Owens Center is in the neighborhood for CD9, and with that in mind, we have at least 9 open seats for our Community Advisory Board, and we are asking community board members who are interested to just communicate with CD9 and fill out an application. You could also speak with your elected officials in the area, but especially for Community Board 9 members, we are encouraging you all to get involved and ensure that the Major R. Owens Center, Community Center, is really a gem in our neighborhood. We have community benefits, really for Community Board 9 members, it's $10 compared to anywhere else. And you have the facility, we have swimming, archery, a wealth of activities for the children as well as adults. So we welcome you. Thank you. If I may say one more thing, we're in a different hat. I'm representing my development, Harris Silver Housing Company. We're on the other side of Community Board 9, but we are in Community Board 9. There have, because of the Vital Brooklyn project that started yesterday, quite a few of our seniors at home reported that the building based on the construction. It's across the street, it's in Rutland, corner of Utica. And across the street, a lot of them were complaining they were in their beds and they were shaking. So we're a little concerned about our facility with all this Vital Brooklyn and the construction that's going on. They started digging, and that created some sort of shock to our building. The state is aware, and I just want to bring it to our elected official has been informed. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the ball and that the community is aware, just in case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that announcement and for the commentary. So Major Owens, they are accepting applications for public members. Though that information will be sent out as part of our weekly e-blast, and it will be available. Is it on the website as well, Yanela? And it will be available on the website as well. Okay, so at this time, we are now going to enter into our public commentary session. Public commentary is for 30 minutes or until we've exhausted all the speakers. All speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please, I would ask all speakers to respect the 3-minute time limit. We have our staff member. Oh, I'm sorry, Dante, are we gonna keep time? All right. They are not here, it's been tabled. So, and please, if we can refrain from shouting out, we will go much quicker that way. So Dante will be keeping time, the district manager. I would ask everyone, please, Dante, when they have 30 seconds left, please give them a sign, okay? So please respect that. When you have when you see that you have 30 seconds left, please conclude your comments and stop at 3 minutes directly. Okay, at this time, we will call to the front Ms. Maxine Barnes. The next speaker after that will be, and I apologize in advance, is it Shania Hartley? Sorry? Ms. Hartley. Ms. Barnes?
Okay. For those of you who don't know, the community was denied the request for a letter of support against the application for a bar at 1017 Nostrand Avenue. If approved, it would have a cumulative negative effect on the community. It would be directly next to a smoke shop, in close proximity to a litany of other liquor dispensaries. It would be on a 2-block stretch of documented, notorious crime and gun shootings. And worse, there are schools and houses of worship within steps. The negative, inevitable, cumulative effect of all this was ignored, although pointed out. The board forwarded to the SLA the application absent any recommendation or even note of the community disapproval of the application. This board submitted the application with all other liquor license applications, stating only that the Public Safety Committee and full board December 2023 meeting did not meet quorum. The board stated for the record they are waiting for the SLA to rule on a 500-foot rule like it does for any other application. This is not like any other application, and it must be made clear that the area is not the place for a bar, and the community adamantly objects, and by the grace of God, the SLA will agree with the community. The community knows their neighborhood better than the SLA, and in this case, even better than the board that is put in place to know our neighborhood and advocate for our safety and quality of life. Apparently, this board walks the 2-block stretch oblivious to the constant loitering, drinking, and are even blind to our children frequenting the smoke shop. In partnership with the commanding officer Hayward and now commanding officer Smith of the 7-1, notorious crime and gun shootings and loitering have been noticeably diffused. To now set a liquor and weed culture as an example for our children that's past this specific location 2 times a day to and from school is unacceptable and not the example the community wants to set. We all know you teach by example. Kudos to the Bay Ridge community that together, united last week, had a smoke shop closed that they knew was too close to a school. They took the initiative for what was best for their community, and I am convinced they would not stand for what is being proposed here, a proliferation of liquor now. Why is it okay for a proliferation of liquor in weed dispensary and black communities? Some say, oh no, this is going on all over the city. There is a definite concentration in black neighborhoods, folks. And then those that said, oh, the OCM will be closing illegal smoke shops. The community says, oh yeah, when? It's okay? Is it okay? Is it okay to procrastinate and wait for the safety and the best interests of our children and community and an inevitable disaster? No, a resounding no. Let the record show the community still requests a letter of support and a recommendation from this board, and on the application, it should be noted that the community adamantly disapproves of yet another liquor dispensary on this stretch. Thank you.
Call to the front, Ms. Hartley.
Thank you. Bob? Great. So, good evening. I come to you tonight with a proposal to our local representatives and to the community board. Most of Q4 23, my mother, who's been a...
We're turning it up. We're turning up the mic.
So as I was saying, I come to the community board and the representatives of our local and officials here, as my mother has been coming to the board meetings for a majority of Q4 23, reiterating the same situation. What I'd like for you to do is come to the 500 block of Empire Boulevard at dusk, and I'd like for you to view the relay race of rats that come in and out from specific commercial locations. It's a breeding ground. It's a quality of life issue. It's a health issue. We've contacted as many agencies as we possibly can, and most recently, when we reached out to the office of Brian Cunningham, we were told that we should reach out to a local volunteer cleanup service to help us with this issue. With that, I come back to you is that we've also actually had professionals. We've had exterminators come to the block. And they have stated that on a block that has 20 lots, if only 2 of those lots are actively participating in decreasing this rat population and this epidemic and this health crisis, then that doesn't make any sense. And also, I wanted to call out that what we also are witnessing in a sort of systemic way is environmental terrorism. In the 60s and 70s, many neighborhoods were depleted of basic services, and many of our neighborhoods became garbage crises, which then made our neighborhoods, and when I say our neighborhoods, black neighborhoods or neighborhoods of black owners, not get the respect, not get the property values, and guess what? We're still paying very high property taxes and nothing is coming to it. So what I propose this evening is our elected officials, Crystal, you're here, I'll also reach out to the Office of the Public Advocate, the board. Let's take a nice trip at dusk. I'll even pay for your Uber to come and walk through and so that you can witness this health crisis. Rats are linked to bubonic plague, hantavirus, and we are unable to get a control on this situation because we have 3 key points of commercial contact that have horrible waste removal. And that is creating the issue that we're having here. I would like to barbecue. I would like to visit my mom in front of her home. I would like for the elderly and for the children that reside on that block to be able to walk, and we're unable to live that way. Yes, New York has a rat issue. I've been in this neighborhood for 43 years. This should not have been an issue. This should have been curtailed. When the Department of Health came out on 12/26, the day after Christmas, and started looking into violations, they should have truly taken it into key what was taking place. I'll be here to the rest of the meeting. You can reach out to me. I've already reached out to the officials. I don't think that I've gotten a proper response. I'm throwing this up against you. I think it's a great proposal. And as I said, I'll cover the expenses, but I would like for you to do a walkthrough, look at the waste removal, the rat burrows, and the overall aspect of how it affects our quality of life. African Americans have high blood pressure and high blood sugar, and that is tied to our stress levels. Because I'm thin, I'm good, I look good for my age. But I know that what we're dealing with is a health crisis and a health issue, and that we're not actually attacking what the issue is. So please, let's come down, let's set this up. I got the time.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. The office will be reaching out to you, and we'll discuss this offline as well. All right, at this time, we have Mr. Tyrone McDonald, and after Mr. McDonald will be Ms. Alicia Boyd.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. My name is Tyrone McDonald, and I'm with Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn, a not-for-profit organization that assists tenants, first-time home buyers, and also homeowners. Just a couple of things that I would like to share with you. Next week on Tuesday, January the 30th at 6 p.m. via Zoom, we are having a free webinar on resources in estate planning for family caregivers. As you know, being a caregiver is unsung work, and many people here probably need support. So we're going to cover things such as securing assets, some estate planning issues that you should probably consider for your loved one, and also just caregiving programs, to help you with support, counseling, emotional support, and so forth. So once again, there's flyers here. If you missed that, you can also go to our website. Once again, that's going to be on Tuesday, January the 30th, 6 p.m. via Zoom. There's flyers here. But you can also go to our website at nhsbrooklyn.org. Secondly, I don't know if you may not know, but as of yesterday, the city actually, there was a federal discrimination case regarding preferences, community preferences, when it comes to lottery apartments, and the city settled. So just so you know, before it was 50% community preference, and that has been reduced to 20% from now up until 2029, and from 2029 thereafter, is going to be reduced to 15%. Just a point of clarity, that is the percentage from the 20%. So normally when it comes to lotteries, when you have a building, 20% is actually reserved. So if you have a 40-unit building, eight units would actually be lottery buildings. So before that, when it was 50%, it will be 4 units will be reserved for community preference. Now they just lowered that. So I just want to let you know that it's going to have a big impact. I'm sure you're going to discuss it when developers and other people come here to do that. So I just want to let you know that. All right, thank you very much. And to the next person.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. All right, at this time, we have Ms. Alicia Boyd.
I'm coming to talk to you about the city of Yes. They're trying to deregulate businesses all over the city. They're trying to blur the lines where manufacturing businesses can go, where commercial businesses can go. And we just heard an example of an environmental hazard like rats that's not being addressed. Now think about that. And think about the fact that you now could have a manufacturing industry in your building. We're talking about hazardous waste, toxic waste. We're talking about the current law says the reason why they separate those kinds of industry is to protect you. This city amendment, this economic city amendment, is going to allow those businesses right next door to you, right above you, right beside you, right on your commercial corridors that you walk down. Right now, they're separated in manufacturing zones. This is serious. This is serious. You have no idea what is coming to your community. If you do not organize, get on your elected officials, and I'm pointing to Hudson as one of your elected officials because it's the city council that has to vote this in, you will have a whole line of issues coming at you, because where's the first place those manufacturing businesses are going to go? They're going to go in black and brown communities because our rents are the cheapest. They're leaving. The idea is to remove all of those businesses out of those manufacturing zones so they can go into those manufacturing zones and create housing. Because those manufacturing zones are all along the borders of water. Dumbo, Brooklyn Heights, Staten Island, they got nothing but manufacturing zones that they can't get to. So the idea here, remove them out of the manufacturing zones, let them come into black and brown communities where the land is cheap, okay, and then we don't get any response. If we can't get response for rats, think about trying to get response for a toxic waste, because the person who's in that building is not following the law, and our elected officials and our agencies here, it's in our neighborhood and they never get here, okay? You gotta stop it before it happens, people. You gotta stop it before it happens. There's a hearing tomorrow. It's both online and in person. Go to that hearing. Get on the computer. Take your time to speak out against this. We have a rally at 1 o'clock. If you have availability, come to the rally and speak out. But do something before it is fucking too late. I'm telling you, fucking too late. And get on your elected official. The city council people are the ones who have to pass this rezoning. Tell them to say no to the city of Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Blue. I believe at this time we've completed our speakers list. Well, hold on. Yanela, we see you on the list, but you had your comments before. Are we good? Thank you very much. Okay, so we have completed public commentary. I want to thank all those who provided testimony this evening. It's always helpful for the board to get these differing viewpoints so that way we understand where the issues, sorry? It's a new year. We will allow one last. Okay.
All right, hello everyone. Actually, I have more questions on how we can expand our committees. Just some of my experience, I am very new to community board and I'm very active, I do enjoy it. I actually would love to see some of our committees expand, like maybe a health services. I know that's something that I think impacts our community a lot. Along with, I know at CB8 we have a 77 precinct committee that definitely interplays with the police and just like having a relation with them. I think considering our community and how the police presence is very active, it would be awesome if we could expand some of those committees and like have more oversight and involvement in them. And thanks everybody for your comments.
Thank you very much for those comments. And just very briefly, I mean, I think here at CB9, definitely we look at our committees as the engines of what really drives all the business. But with that being said, we need fuel, we need talent, we need resources. So the amount of work that comes out of the committees is really proportional to how many people are coming out and are committed to doing that work. No, but absolutely, I'm glad you said that. Thank you very much for helping us to start this year with that note. And again, I extend the invite to all residents, all community members, to please come to our meetings. They are public meetings. You are absolutely welcome to come and share your viewpoints. I'm not going to push you to put in board applications yet, but definitely you can get your feet wet by coming to the committee meetings. You mean the applications due February 19th? Oh, okay. Plug. No, but absolutely. We invite for members of the public to please come to our meetings. If you wish, you have an opportunity to expand that commitment. You can become a resident member as well. That's a conversation we can have. And again, the application portal is open for board members. So if you are excited about this community and you want to do the work and you're willing to make the commitment, please feel free to ask myself or the district office and we can connect you and give you additional resources for board membership. But thank you very much for your comment. Okay, and with that, we have concluded public commentary. At this time, we are now going to move on in the agenda to acknowledgements. I would like to start off our acknowledgements. We do have one of our elected officials here this evening. I would invite to the front Council Member Crystal Hudson.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal Hudson. I'm the council member. I represent the neighborhoods of Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, Fort Greene, and Clinton Hill. I left a couple of flyers on the table. One is just a reminder that we have housing help in our office at 55 Hanson Place every Wednesday. So anybody with any issues pertaining to housing can come on any Wednesday. On Thursdays, we have an attorney from CUNY Law in our office. So if you have any legal issues, anything that might need the consultation or advice from a lawyer, you can come to our office on Thursdays for that. And then we're going to be hosting constituent services in each of the public library branches that are in our district. We're starting with the one in Clinton Hill, so a little bit of a ways from here, but we will be coming to a library branch near you very soon. At that session on January 30th from 1 to 6 p.m., we'll have the Department of Buildings with us. So if anyone has any DOB issues, they can feel free to come visit us there and sort that out. A couple of comments that I just want to make based on your comments. One, I always support CIR, and just to be clear too, that's the Union for Interns and Residents. And one of the things that I think the gentleman was mentioning is that we don't see equity a lot of times for workers who are in our city hospitals. And so I'm happy to follow up with you and provide a letter of support from my office. Secondly, about the City of Yes, just as a general statement, it's a very detailed proposal, as I'm sure you all know. And so my personal perspective is that generally, I think a lot of the proposals in the City of Yes were created to circumvent public input and public engagement. I can't speak to point by point because there are so many points in the City of Yes, which I agree with and which I don't agree with. But I would say, generally speaking, I think the City of Yes is problematic because it tries to remove agency from community and for a lot of the pieces. So I'll put that out there. And then the last thing I wanted to just mention is to just reiterate what the public advocate spoke about the How Many Stops Act. He mentioned that one of the bills that's in the How Many Stops Act was passed, which was my bill, but we're going to be overriding the mayor's veto for the second bill. There's been a lot of misinformation put out about what the bill will do, and it is basic transparency and accountability for the NYPD. We want our communities to be safe also. There isn't one side or one type of person who wants safe communities. We all want safe communities, but we also, for us, that means we also want to make sure that our Black and brown young men are safe too. So this is simple accountability for the NYPD that would keep everybody in our communities safe. Happy to take a question or two if the chair will allow it, but otherwise, one question. Otherwise, thank you for, I knew your hand would go up first. Please. Yes. Wait, hold on 1 second for the microphone, please.
Besides the fact that a lot of the things that they're asking in the economic text amendments is basically doing away with city council and community boards' input, what other aspects of the City of Yes economic text amendments do you oppose?
I haven't been briefed on the economic development piece yet because, as you mentioned, the city council will be voting on all the City of Yes text amendments. So we're being briefed like piece by piece. I haven't been briefed on that yet. I know the community boards are addressing the environmental impact stuff yet, but the city council just hasn't been briefed. So I can't speak to, and I know there's so many elements of it, I can't speak specifically at this point as to which I approve and which I wouldn't approve.
Well, I would suggest that you go to my website, MTOP. We've done that for you. We've analyzed these proposals. We have videos on there. We have
Okay, Ms.
links
Boyd.
to
Ms. Boyd.
links to
Ms. Boyd,
we have
question has
links
been answered, please.
to
Dante, could you please
the
get
law and the proposed law.
Dante,
So
please
I
come on.
suggest that if you need some support from the community to understand the City of Yes, that you definitely go to our website, MTOP, and you will get a lot of information about these.
Thank you.
And it's important because we need to have city council members who are educated on these proposals that are coming through because it's going to affect us. Okay?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, we are being briefed on every single element. We just haven't had that specific briefing yet. But thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Good to see you all.
Thank you very much. And council members, so we are going to be voting on our text amendment, on our recommendation this evening, so we will absolutely be sharing that with your office as well. Absolutely, but we will be sharing that with you. I think there's a number of points, and the committee has done a lot of work with respect to that.
And one very quick last thing, I want to introduce everybody to Andre Robinson. He started in our office yesterday, but he's going to be our liaison for Community Board 9, so please say hello, and you will definitely see him again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I see that he was here. Do we have, is Mr. Williams here this evening? Okay, please, did you want to give any brief remarks, or? Okay, but I definitely want to acknowledge we have one of our Democratic male leader, Cal Williams, with us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, the public advocate was here before, but I know, is Elizabeth Kennedy still here? Did you want any announcements you want to give, or? Okay, briefly.
Thank you. I will be brief. I know you all have been here for some time and will keep engaging, but I've met some of you before. I've been here a couple of community boards. My name is Elizabeth Kennedy. I also go by EK. You're welcome to call me either she, her, aya pronouns. I'm the Deputy Public Advocate for Education and Opportunity at the Public Advocate's Office. So I'm happy to talk about any issue in the community, but also specifically can talk to me about education and opportunity. That includes labor, small businesses, MWBEs, and education broadly, from daycares to our public schools to CUNY and youth employment. I will be brief. Just wanted to share a couple of ways that you can get in touch with us, and if there are any needs, I'm happy to give my information to anybody here that wants to get in touch with me or our office. We have our constituent services team, so you can reach out to our constituent services team at gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov about any issue that you're experiencing. I know past community board meetings, folks have shared about the sidewalks that are, have a big hole, or there are bus routes that they need more support on, or there are rat issues that were brought up earlier. We are happy to address those, and we would love to make sure that you are getting the support that you need from our city agencies and for our community here. I also wanted to just share that in terms of any wanting to hear more from us, we also have our bi-monthly newsletter, and I'm happy to share that so it can be shared more concretely, but it's bit.ly/advocate newsletter. You can sign up and receive more great information from us about our event. With that, though, I know there's much to discuss, so feel free to find me. Again, you can reach out to me here on the community board. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have a representative from the Borough President's office?
Good night, everyone. Just wanted to let everyone know that the Borough President will be doing his State of the Borough address, and that's on February the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. Everyone is inviting. It's going to be at 337 New York Tech, 375 J Street. And also, just to reiterate that the community board application is open until February the 19th. Board members here whose board seat expires in 2024, please make sure you get your application in. And for other people who may be interested in the board, please, go on the Borough President's website and fill out the application. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lee. Okay, at this time, we have a representative from the Office of Senator Zelma Omari with us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Portia Edwards. I'm the District Director for State Senator Myrie. Happy New Year. Just a heads up, every Wednesday we have Cuff in our office doing housing applications for Housing Connect. So if you guys need help with signing up for Housing Connect, we have someone in our office every Wednesday from 11 to 5 p.m. Budget season is underway, just so you guys know. If you can, put in your applications as soon as possible. And the last update that I have for you guys, we will be doing a Valentine's Day special event with some senior centers on February 9th. So if there are any senior centers that you would like to see the senator at, please reach out to the office. My contact is P like Portia Edwards, P Edwards at nysenate.gov. The office number is 718-284-4700, and we're located at 1077 Nostrand Avenue in the corner of Lincoln Road. Thank you. Which part? My contact, yes. Peter Edwards, P Edwards at nysenate.gov. And if you need, I can come and give you my direct contact information as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Edwards. Okay, this time, I believe we have a representative from Assemblymember Brian Cunningham's office.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Marco Trigiano. I'm the Communications Director for Assemblymember Brian Cunningham. I appreciate you bringing up the trash issue and the rat issue, because I'm also a member of Clean Up Crown Heights and Community Cleanup PLG, and we are not equipped to handle that kind of situation. We pick up cigarette butts and straws and things. That's like a biohazard. So I flag that actually with the rest of our staff, so we make sure that everyone understands that. So coming up, we have some really exciting stuff going on. We're going to start a Housing Mondays. It was originally slated to start February 5th. We have to push it back starting February 12th, but then every Monday going on from there. We're going to have folks from oh my goodness, forgetting the organization. Brooklyn Housing, how could I forget, to help folks with heating issues, tenant-landlord issues, not to find housing, but to deal with issues in current housing. I will give you our information. So we're at the corner of Empire Boulevard and Rogers Avenue. Our phone number is 718-771-3105. And you can come by anytime between 9 and 5, Monday to Thursday. Thanks so much. Yes, so it's Mondays starting February 12th at our district office. It's 249 Empire Boulevard. Remember the number. Got it?
Okay, thank you very much. All right, okay, at this time, do we have a representative for Department of Sanitation?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Antonio Whitaker. I am the Assistant Director of the Community Affairs Bureau for the Department of Sanitation. I will be very brief. I just have a very brief announcement. As many of you know, a few months ago, the department instituted a rule that states that all food-based businesses and all chain stores have to containerize their trash. That basically means that they have to put out their trash in containers with secure lids. As of March 1st of this year, so in about 6 weeks, that's going to be expanded to include all businesses in the city of New York will have to containerize their trash. What does that mean? If you are a business, you have to set your garbage or your trash in a container with a secure lid. You can set it out an hour before your closing time. If you need to set out trash bags, trash that's not in a container, you can do so only after 8 p.m. or you will be, or you can be summoned. Okay, so I'll repeat that. If you are a business, any business, food-based business, clothing business, what have you, as of March 1st, you'll have to containerize your trash If you set out your trash in a container, you can do so an hour before your closing time or after 8 p.m. if you're just putting out bags. Also, if you need to store, where you need to store your bins, you can store your bins either in a backyard area if you have a space large enough behind your business to store your bins, or you can store them inside. If you have no space inside your establishment, you can store your trash bins up to 3 feet from your building line. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. Also, do you have a flyer or do you have a document that we can send out as part of that?
Oh yeah, we can provide you with that, but we also have the information on our website. If you go to the Department of Sanitation's website and just put in commercial containerization, all the information is right there for you.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you asking a question?
Yeah, inside their business, businesses are supposed to store their commercial trash inside their business.
So the question that's being asked is, if you have a business and you need to store your trash in containers, do you have to keep it inside your business? So you only have to do that if you have no space to put it behind your business, or if you don't have space in front of your business up to 3 feet from your property line to store your bins, then you'll be required to store them inside your business.
Okay, I apologize, but we have this 4 or 5 questions and we really have to move at this time. But Mr. Whitaker, will you be?
I can stay a few minutes to answer any questions
Yeah.
that folks may have.
Right, so listen, so Mr. Whitaker, he's agreed, he's going to be in the back, so if there are questions individually, he'll take those questions at this time. I'm sorry? Understood. No, and I understand, but there's probably going to be a number of complexities of these things. So what I would ask is, Mr. Whitaker, if we can contact you, we can probably schedule for you to either come to our environmental protection meeting or our public safety meeting, where would you be able to give a fuller presentation on this?
I would, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so absolutely, we will make sure we get whatever. Understood, but what I'm saying is we don't have the time for that right now. But we will make sure we are able to get, we can't do it, we have to move on.
I'll come to you, ma'am, and I'll try to explain as much as I can.
If you wish to, okay, order of the day. If you wish to speak to Mr. Whitaker, he will go to the back of the room. He can take individual questions. We will arrange for him to try and be on the agenda for one of the appropriate committees. We will decide that later. Okay? Apologize, but we need to move on. All right, at this time, do we have, yes, is Detective Richards here with the NYPD? Okay, she was here earlier. At this time, do we have a representative from CCHR?
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I'll be brief. My name is David. I'm the Community Coordinator for CCHR, the New York City Commission on Human Rights. I will be attending all of our community board meetings from here on forward. If you or anyone you know have experienced discrimination in housing, in employment, or in public accommodations, we ask that you kindly come to us. I'll be standing in the back, but you can also reach us at 311 and asking for human rights. I have my card as well, and I look forward to hearing from you. Do you have a question, miss? Or? All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
But thank you so much for that. Are there any other representatives from any agencies who did not sign in? Okay, seeing none, that completes our acknowledgements. And again, I want to thank all those elected officials and representatives from the agencies for coming out and sharing with us this evening. Any information that they have for any events or information, we publicize that as part of our weekly blast. If you have not signed up for that, please make sure you talk to one of the district office staff. They can get you on there, and on a weekly basis, you will get a synopsis of all the different activities, events, and programs that are being run through the district and even outside as well. All right, at this time, we've completed our public session, our business session. At this time, I would ask Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll? Board members, please listen for your name.
Maria Acosta. Maria Acosta. Nicholas Almanar. Fred Baptiste. Janelle Brazil Charles. Jacob. Rabbi Jacob Berman.
Need order. We're calling roll.
Elizabeth. Augustine Blackwell. Celeste Chase. Suki Chung. Max Going. Max Going. Eve Going. Saul Carey. Candace Edwards. Candace Edwards. Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez. Ron Herbert. Yusuf Herkhoff. Renisha Labari. Primo Lozana. Israel Daher. Francisco Leopold. Courtney Lazal. Erin Mazursky. John Renier Benin. Latoya McGee. Latoya McGee. Glati Moshin.
Present.
Patricia Moses. Beverly Newsom. Ethan Narville.
We need quiet in the room. We are now in order. We are conducting business.
Paul Pascal. Yankee Pearson. Vanessa. Unella Ronfari. Dexter Roberts. Felice Robertson. Minnie Rosenberger. Dion Saab. Debbie Timothy. Phyla Ware. Linda Watson Lord, that's me. Teresa Westerdahl. John Wolfling. Lorianne Woolsey. Samantha Ackman.
All right, please bear with us a moment. The Executive Secretary is confirming the count. Are there any members who did not hear their name called or did not respond when their name was called? Okay, seeing none. The executive secretary is advised there are 33 members present. We have a quorum. Okay, I'm going to ask at this time, I need for board members, we need to be very, very quick, and we need to be very, in terms of getting through the agenda, okay? So everyone, please make sure we're paying attention. If you have questions, let's make sure they are concise. We're gonna try and get through them. We have a lot of items to get through. We're gonna try and structure so that way we can get it done quickly. All right, at this time, we're gonna go to the next item, which is the approval of the November 2023 minutes. Are there any corrections to be made to the November 2023 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. We have corrections for the 2023 minutes. Yes, please rise.
I was there, and it doesn't say I was there, so it's not really convinced. Just check my name off that I was there. I came very late.
November or
November,
December?
November.
November.
Came very late.
Okay. Are there any other corrections to be made to the 2023 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, I know she's there.
Right. Okay, what's the, hold on, one more, we're just checking one more correction. Which was the second member? Toya McGee. Oh, there she is. Was she absent or present? Okay. All right, that's being corrected. So Latoya McGee is being noted as absent for the November 2023 meeting. Okay, are there any other corrections to be made to the to the November 2023 minutes? Okay, is there any objection to adopting the corrected minutes by common consent? Call for a second.
I second it.
Well, no, I'm calling for common consent. So as long as nobody objects, call for a second time. Any objection by common consent? Hearing none, the November 2023 minutes are adopted with the corrections noted. All right, we're going to go to the 2023 minutes for December. Are there any corrections to be made to the December minutes? Yes, Ms. Westerdahl. Almanor? Okay. Okay, we're gonna note Mr. Almanor was present for the December meeting. Are there any other corrections for the December 2023 minutes? Okay, hearing no other corrections. Is there any objection to adopting the December 2023 minutes with the corrections noted? I call for a second time. Is there any objection to adopting the December 2023 minute? Yes. No, because I think, we'll check the records, because the thing is, I think you have one excused, we allow for one excused and the other will be taken as an absent. But we'll check the records to see if you have an excused absence. We allow one excused absence for every member. So I'm not sure if you already have one, we will check the record. If you have one, then that has to be taken as an absence. If there's not, we will correct it to make sure that it's excused. Ms. Blackwell. Okay, Ms. Blackwell, we're going to check the record on that one, so we'll make the corrections necessary. All right, are there any objections to adopting the minutes as the corrections noted? Yes, yes, Rabbi. Correct. It gives the chair the discretion, and as the chair, I allow one mulligan for everyone. After that, you give absences. It gives the chair that discretion, and I allow for one. Okay, thank you. All right, is there any, yes? One per year. Everyone gets one. You get a freebie.
people could get
Yes,
sick.
this chair allows one per year. After that, you are running on your record. So, if you miss one, you're okay. If you miss two, you're okay. 3 or 4, then that's the question if you're able to continue on as a board member, which will actually be a topic we'll discuss when we get to the agenda item of that as well. Yes, I'll take that one question and we'll go on.
Thank you. So in the winter months, when you could have COVID and then you could get the flu and you get whatever it is, which I actually just finished. Don't worry, guys, I'm clean. But let's say it would have happened during a meeting time. So it's very possible that I could have been absent more than one time, which there should be an excusable absence if you're sick or you need a doctor's note
and this
or
is the
something
thing.
like that.
Here's the thing, and we need to move on this. With that policy, absolutely, life is allowed. You get the one. If you are absent for another sickness, that's fine because that still doesn't hurt you as a board member because we're only counting, your percentage is only being done against 9. So in other words, we throw out 1 meeting for you, period. After that, if you are absent for more than a few meetings during the year, that's when it affects your attendance as a board member. Okay? It's not a new policy. It's the bylaws, and the bylaws gives the chair the discretion. And we're not going to discuss this. We're not going to discuss this at this time. Thank you. All right. Seeing no objection to the corrections, the minutes are adopted with the said corrections. All right. Committee reports. All right, committee reports have been submitted by all the chairs. They've been distributed to the members. Do any committee chairs at this time have an announcement, urgent announcement they need to make to the board? Okay, are there any committee chairs that have an announcement to make to the board? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the district manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. I will be brief. Okay, so we are still working in partnership with the American Red Cross to encourage people to sign up for a free smoke alarm installation, especially older adults and families with children. Red Cross will install and then give a fire safety demonstration if you sign up, for those who sign up. That flyer is in our e-blast, so if you want that information, if you're not in our e-blast, definitely reach out to the board and we'll get that to you. We can connect you with that service. You've heard this a couple of times, community board applications are live. Again, the deadline is February 9th. The application can be found on our website in the news section. If you prefer to fill it out by paper, you can go to the news section of our website and download the paper application, print it out, and then send it to the Borough President's Office, or you can fill out the online submission. The link is on our website as well. The Summer Youth Employment Program is now open for youth between the ages of 14 and 24. The application will be open until March 1st, 2024. That flyer will be in our e-blast for the community. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection is rolling out its annual NYC free tax prep services. For single filers, you are eligible if you're making up to or less than $85,000 a year in 2023. Excuse me, that's for families. $85,000 for families, and then for single filers, $59,000 or less in 2023. You can call 311 and ask for tax preparation for more information. Tax day is April 15th this year. The FY25 discretionary funding expense application, programming and operations, is open for all nonprofit, community-based organizations that wish to apply for discretionary funding. You can apply for that funding via the New York City Council website. Submission deadline for that application is February 20th of this year. You've heard this a couple of times, but the Green Fast Track info session, that's hosted by the Department of City Planning. It is scheduled for January 29th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Also, the Green Fast Track public meeting is scheduled for February 7th, 2024. That public meeting is actually at 10 a.m., not in the evening. 10 a.m. to noon, it's in person. If you wish to participate, that public meeting will be at 120 Broadway. If you go in person, you are encouraged to wear a mask. The board office received a 500-foot hearing notice for an establishment located at 825 Franklin Avenue, which is Golden Crust. If you wish to comment on that hearing, you can submit comment. 27. You got until the 27th to submit in writing by email to this email address: secretaries, period, office at sla.ny.gov. Again, secretaries with YS, not IN, period, office at sla.ny.gov. And then please include the serial number for the hearing in your response. Next up, the MTA is holding a capital project public hearing that will take place on February 6th at 6 p.m. to solicit comments on the MTA's federal grant proposals for FY24. The hearing will be in a hybrid format with options to participate in person as well and via Zoom. If you plan to do it in person, it will be held at the MTA headquarters, which is located at 2 Broadway, 20th floor in Lower Manhattan. The board office also received a notification from the Department of Transportation informing us that a signal has been approved at the intersection of Troy and Rutland. All right, let's see, okay. Track replacement, this is on the weekends. There is no Q train between Prospect Park and 96th Street in Manhattan. Construction will take place, starting in January, so the 6th through the 29th of January. That construction starts Saturday mornings at 12:45 a.m. and it lasts all the way until Monday mornings at 5 a.m. So basically the whole weekend. So that's, again, no Q train at Prospect Park. So that's set to end the 29th of January. No problem. There is a fiber optic installation scheduled to take place starting February 8th on Flatbush Avenue between Eastern Parkway and Empire Boulevard. That notification was also on our e-blast. If you need more information, please let us know. Let's see. Starting next Monday, January 29th, DDC is scheduled to upgrade pedestrian ramps to ADA compliance at the northeast corner of New York Avenue and Empire Boulevard. That was also in our e-blast as well. And this was brought up in some of the committees, so I just want to address it. A follow-up on the residential beds letter that was sent out to the Department of City Planning. So no response. During the district service cabinet this morning, we're going to work with the mayor's office, CAU, to get a response from DSS. As you can imagine, this is not the only community board that's asking for this information. Other boards are asking for it as well. So once we receive it, we will send it out. But what we're getting is nothing yet. So once we get that, we'll send that out. Okay, and that is the finale. Oh, actually, no, one last thing. Again, the fast track info session. There are flyers for the public meeting and the info session over there. And I'm just going to read a statement that I received from the NYPD regarding the events that happened at 770, because this has come up, so I just want to relay what I received. Okay, so in regards to the incident that occurred at 77 Eastern Parkway, NYPD was called to the location by the building owners and management, who stated that a group of men were causing damage to the interior wall inside the synagogue. Upon entering, officers found a substantial hole in the wall and approximately 9 young men sitting inside the structure. Officers were able to safely remove the men and place them under arrest for criminal mischief due to the damage to the wall and reckless endangerment. Their trial is currently pending due process. Officers from the 71st attempted to clear the synagogue with the support of the public, of the building management and owners for the safety of the public. This action was taken due to the uncertain severity of the damage caused by the interior structure. The Department of Buildings was requested and investigated the severity of the damage. The damaged structure was then filled with cement to make it structurally sound. Since then, the synagogue has now been deemed safe as per the Department of Buildings, and the synagogue is open to the public. That's what I received from the NYPD, so I just wanted to let everyone know that that was the update, and I'm just going to try to do this really fast, because we're on top of it. From the Department of Buildings. Okay, when I say we, I mean DOB, because I'm just reading. Okay, DOB found a single linear 60-foot long underground tunnel illegally excavated directly underneath a single-story rear extension behind 784 and 786 Eastern Parkway. That is next door to 770 Eastern Parkway, but the tunnel was not connected to that building. DOB did not find any other tunnels during the investigation. And I'm going to jump to this.
We need order.
What?
We need order. District Manager.
What our investigation found. Department of Buildings investigation, not mine, make it clear. Department of Buildings found, again, oh, that was all that. Oh, action, sorry. DOB action. DOB issued vacate orders for the following buildings. 1457 Union Street, DOB issued partial vacate orders at both single-story extensions due to structural stability concerns. 302 Kingston Avenue, a full vacate order issued to the two-story building due to fire safety concerns after it was determined that fire-rated walls were removed at the cellar and on the first floor on the north and west sides of the building. DOB emergency orders and violations were also issued. DOB issued emergency work orders to the owners of these properties to hire a professional engineer and immediately stabilize the illegal excavation by adding professionally designed engineered shoring, and if needed, backfilling the tunnel. And then they also said that they also ordered the owners to seal up the openings in the rear wall of 784 and 786 Eastern Parkway. So if you all want more information on that, feel free to reach out to the board office. Again, this investigation was not conducted by me. This is what was sent to me by the NYPD and the Department of Buildings. Okay, thank you.
All right, we can take a couple of questions. Board members will take a couple of questions for the district manager's report. Ms. Newsom, I see you. Ms. Chung, I see you. We're going to close on those two. Ms. Westerdahl, I'll see you, and that's it. We're closing on that.
Dante, I see where you said Golden Crest has a hearing on the 500 feet rule?
Yeah.
Well, please explain.
Yeah, so we received a notice from the SLA. So the SLA
Regarding their liquor license, right?
yes. So they would have applied for a liquor license, and the SLA then triggered it and sent us a notice. So that's how it works. So when someone applies for the SLA, they'll submit that application. SLA will then trigger it, and then when it gets triggered, they send us a notice letting us know that this hearing is being called.
But there is a bar serving liquor in the same block, another one across the street in the same block, and a liquor store directly across in front of them.
And that's what triggers the 500.
That's
But wait a minute, wait, before we snap. They're the third in the row, the third. So the Union Bar in the corner, the other one across the street from it, and before the pie shop lady closed, she was serving liquor too, and she was granted a liquor license. And I don't mean to play the race card right now, but I'm gonna play it.
Play it.
So Golden Crest is now given a 500-foot rule when those three places that I just mentioned all got liquor license from this community board. But now Golden Crest is getting don't get me wrong, I'm not an advertisement, I'm not an owner, I'm not a fan. But right is right.
We voted yes.
That's all I'm saying.
We voted yes.
Yeah, you did, but I didn't.
Okay.
No.
So I think
vote yes.
if they have a hearing, we should bring that up. Because everybody in here know the Union Bar the Union Street. Everybody in here knows it, because it was a big thing when they came and got it. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Well, I can give some clarity. At the hearing, they'll have to justify why the additional license will be an asset. So they have to justify what they're bringing to the community. They can mention that there may be other problematic licenses, and that's a part of the hearing process.
And thank you for that, Nia, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Okay. All right. All right, but that notice has actually been put out as part of the weekday blast. If there's public commentary, if anybody wishes, I'm not even sure if that's available, but I think you could submit written commentary to the SLA.
Yeah, it's really, that's wildly, it's only written commentary.
Only written commentary.
I got it. It's written commentary.
I know that Alicia mentioned it, but could you repeat the information about the Department of City Planning Commission public hearing tomorrow morning on City of Yes?
Bring fast track.
For City of Yes for Economic Opportunity, public hearing tomorrow morning.
I didn't mention that it's tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so what time is it at? 10 a.m. Okay, so the public hearing for the City of Yes Economic Opportunity is tomorrow. Is it in person?
It's in person and online.
In person and online. I guess if it's early, I can send another. 120 Broadway. 120 Broadway. So what I'll do is when I get to the office in the morning, it's kind of early, I will send out another blast to the community listserv. So if anyone's interested in going, then it'll be fresh on top of your inboxes so people know. That work? Okay.
Okay, listen, we can't, no. We have to make sure we are recognized. We will make sure we are recognized. Ms. Westerdahl, you have the floor. Thank you. Dante, Ms. Westerdahl has the floor. She was who was recognized.
We can get you that website after this. Let's just keep it moving. We have that in.
I just have a similar question to Beverly's about when you get the notice, does it specify what it's for? Like, is it because of close to other liquor places, or is it because of a school?
It is not. It was in the e-classes. No, it doesn't specify much at all.
It doesn't tell you.
Well, I can look at it on my phone right there.
Well, hold on. Okay. I'm sorry, repeat the question. It was about the 500-foot rule. This is the same 500-foot rule?
Yeah, I just wondered if the notification was for a reason.
It's because but that's the purpose of the 500-foot rule. There are other establishments that are in the vicinity.
So it's established, so the 200-foot rule refers to churches and schools. So the 500-foot rule is only for the number of liquor licenses in a certain vicinity.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
All right, we got it, guys.
Okay, thank you very much for your report. Okay, I'm going to go on to the chairman's report. I'm going to try and be very, very quick. I think most of the topics have been covered either through committee reports or by the district manager. I just want to make a couple points. One, membership and attendance, as is coming up and is going to be discussed, and we're going to vote on this evening. We need to make sure, one, if you are a board member who is to be reappointed, make sure you get your application in by February the 19th. And the board office, if you have not received the notice or if you don't know, please make sure you check with the board office to see if your term is expiring this year and you need to reapply. And again, new members are also encouraged to apply as well. That process gets run through Borough Hall. The office can help you get the application, but we do not process those. So if there's any questions, those go directly to Borough Hall. Along with that as well, we are in the process. I think last month was something that I was not very happy with. It was a disappointment for the board. And part of what we are doing is we are going through the attendance rules right now. Part of board membership requires attendance at these general board meetings as well as attendance at your committee meetings. We've already done outreach with the committee chairs to see who is coming to the committee meetings. You may be getting notices, some of you may be getting notices in terms of your committee membership is deficient. If it's deficient, you are liable to be removed from a committee. If you are removed from a committee, you are liable to be removed from the board, because that is one of the requirements of participation. So we are in the process of verifying that information. If you receive a communication, please make sure you Okay, all right, so at this time, we are now going to move on into the voting items. Everyone, please hang in with me, okay? We're gonna try and knock these out as quickly as we can. Please allow me, we may skip around a little bit because I think there might be some items that we can dispose of very quickly. Let's look at 975 Nostrand Avenue, the fresh application. So this is the application that was presented by the Land Use Committee. It was on the agenda for last month. This is for the additional square footage that is allowed as part of the fresh program under the city text amendments for land use. The language has been sent out. This was approved by the Land Use Committee and it was approved by the Executive Committee before the board this evening. As it was approved by the Executive Committee, we don't need a motion to put it on the floor. It is currently there. I will open a speakers list. Is there any questions with regards to the application at this time? Fresh application. Please raise your hand. We'll take a speakers list right now for the fresh application. Call for a second time. Are there any questions or comments with regards to the fresh application? Okay, hearing none, we're going to call the question. All right. Is there any objection to adopting the text? I'm sorry, can't even talk. Adopting the recommendation to approve the 975 Nostrand Avenue fresh application. Is there any objection to common consent? I call for a second time. Is there any objection to common consent? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please note the application is approved by CB9 by common consent. Okay, we're gonna go on CB9 Gaming Text Amendment Resolution. The resolution was presented, it was also distributed to all board members. So with this, the position of the board is pretty much no. Am I misstating that, Madam Chair? Okay, at this time, as this was approved by the committee and by the exec, we do not require a motion to put it on the floor. It's on the agenda for the board to consider. Are there any questions for this regarding this item? This is for CB9 Gaming Text Amendment. The casinos. Yes. Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions? Is there anyone who has a question or comment creating the speakers list? I call one last time. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, with that, the floor is closed. At this time, is there any objection to adopting the resolution by common consent? Is there any objection?
What resolution?
Right, the resolution says, okay. All right, is there any objection to adopting the resolution by common consent for the New York CB9 Gaming resolution? We're voting. Is there any objection? So in other words, if you have an objection, we'll vote. If you don't have a vote, it's common consent. We adopt it. Or if you want to be on the record as a no, that's fine. Okay, let's come back to order. Hearing no objection, Madam Secretary, please note for the record, CB9 adopts the resolution for gaming text amendment by common consent. All right, let's do this. By common consent means we're voting for it. So in other words, unless you have an objection. So in other words, everybody votes yes.
So we're voting yes or no?
Yes or no? Okay. No. Okay. Just as a point of order, just for order, just as you know, when I call for common consent, in other words, does somebody have a problem with us just saying yes, let's adopt this? That's what I'm asking for. If you have a problem with saying yes, then we say yes, and I object, and we can note that vote. Okay, you have an objection? Okay, all right, so let's do this. Member Lorianne Wolston. Okay, so hold on. All right, all those members who wish to vote no against the resolution, please raise your hand and we'll note you for the record. Please note Member Lorianne Wolston. Are there any other members who wish to vote against the resolution? No, Second Vice Chair Francisco Leopold. Yes.
Yeah, we're voting no, we don't want it, or we're voting
No,
yes?
no, no.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, here's the thing. The recommendation is on the floor. It's already here that, okay, we have a text resolution we have a resolution on the floor. If I'm calling for common consent just means, does anybody have a problem with this, or do we all agree this is okay? Yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
The text amendment should be in front of everyone, so. Whoa, hold on. You don't have the CB9 gaming text amendment?
But it's not in the package.
Okay. Right, no, but it sounds like, what members have not seen the text of the resolution? One member hasn't seen it. Okay. There was a synopsis also provided, okay. Okay.
So it's yes, we oppose it.
Yes. Right.
There you go. That's what you need to clarify. Yes, we
Right.
oppose it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, 1 second while we give the resolution over. Right. Okay. All right, do the board members have a copy of the resolution? Yes. Okay. The board members who now have a copy of the resolution, are you in favor of the resolution or do you wish to vote against it?
Favor.
Okay. Are there any members who wish to vote in opposition? We'll note your vote right now if you wish to oppose it. We've already got 2 members who voted no against it.
You understand? She's voting yes.
So you're voting yes?
Yes.
Okay, no, your vote is
Yes,
correct.
opposing it.
Okay, are there any? Lorianne, do you still wish to keep your no vote? Okay, so we still have the no vote. Is there anyone else who wishes to record a no vote? Okay, seeing none. Okay, seeing none, I hear a majority of the board voting in favor. Madam Secretary, please note it's adopted with noted objections. Okay? We're gonna get there. Okay, we're gonna go to green fast track for housing resolution. Let's try that. Okay, so that was presented by the land use chair earlier. Does anyone have any questions with respect to the green fast track housing? We will take a speakers list now. Green fast track housing? I'm sorry, green fast track for housing resolution.
Suki spoke on it at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
Give him 10 seconds, give Kevin 10-second overview.
All right, the land use chair will give a brief synopsis.
It's a proposed change to the city's rules that would waive environmental review for any development under 250 units in an R5 or above district, or any development under 150 units in an R1 through R4 district, unless it's a historic district or flood zone or next to a park. And our committee's recommendation is basically no. We said other things too, but we have a lot of concerns about that.
Okay. All right, at this time, okay, order. Are there any questions? We'll open the speakers list. You can ask your question and we will answer it for you before we vote. Are there any questions with regards to the resolution? Yes.
The resolution is against, the resolution is we're against it.
Correct.
So if we vote yes, that means yes, we're against it.
Correct.
That's correct.
Vote yes for the resolution.
Good.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Are there any questions? Anybody have any other questions with respect to the resolution? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna close that. We're gonna call the question. I will ask, is there any objection to adopting this by common consent? So in other words, everybody's in favor. Is there any objection?
I'm actually not in favor, but I'm not gonna force a non-consent or a common consent.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna note an abstention for member John Wolfling. And for Rabbi Berman.
We have the sweater from Uniqlo. I love it.
So do you wish to vote, you're in favor, or you wish to abstain? Okay. All right, so we have those two abstentions. Okay, with that, the motion carries. Madam Secretary, please record that it's adopted by majority vote of the board. All right. Hang in there, we're gonna earn those CB checks. That was the one, correct? All right. Okay, listen, just for record keeping purposes. And now I was remiss on that. For the 975 fresh application, we have one member who was recused, John Wolfling. He's recused himself from that vote. So that lowers quorum. That has the effect of lowering quorum. He's recused from the vote, he's not an abstention, and everybody else's vote counts. So it's still common consent. You are noted as recused. You didn't vote.
Thank you for following the law.
Thank you for following the rules and not yelling out during the meeting. Okay, let's hold on. Let's go to landmarks. We're gonna go to landmarks. Okay, so the 418 Rogers Avenue application, we heard from the applicant earlier. So the recommendation from the committee and from the exec was to approve this. All right, are there any questions? Are there any questions with respect to the, okay, hold on. I'm gonna take a speakers list. Ms. Newsom, I will see you. Hold on. Ms. Moses, I'll have you recorded as well. Are there any other questions with regards to the application? Twyla, Ware? Ms. Ware, we have you as well. The 418, this is the landmarks preservation application. Are there any other questions? I have you, Ms. Bowen. Are there any other questions for the application, with respect to the application? Okay. Seeing them, we're gonna close the list on those four names. Ms. Newsom?
I came in halfway through, and what I heard was, we started doing patchwork and we can't take it off. So I'm assuming that she's in a landmark and they started doing something to their house that's not approved. And the look is gonna be totally different from the rest of the street, am I right?
That is not accurate.
Okay.
Part of the reason why this is
Summarize.
something that can be done retroactively is because the facades, whatever you see on the street side is what's
Right.
concerned. This is done on the back, and please correct me, the applicant. This is done on the back side of the building, which is not visible to the street side. It's on the back wall.
But everything else that you said is correct. This was done without approval, and they're asking now for retroactive approval.
Correct.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Moses?
People online.
It's a landmark application and should have came in front of the EULA board and it did not.
No, landmarks we typically send through housing. They've considered the landmarks.
No,
Yeah.
it was EULA.
No.
I'm telling you because I've had a couple of them come to the EULA. Because they, right. Well, it needs to go back to somebody because I don't understand how it was done and now you're coming for the approval now. I don't even know what they was even talking about.
Well, no, it's been through committee, so it's been through the housing, and they've considered that, and that, oh, sorry, hold on, the housing chair was just.
So the housing chair, their committee approved, is what you're saying?
She's gonna speak on it.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that some new things have come to light, which is that we were not able to get quorum at our last housing committee meeting, but actually what I found out is because there was a faulty link to the meeting. And so a majority of our members were not able to be on or weigh in. And so this application went to the executive committee without input from committee members. And this is also our second landmark application, so it seems like it comes through our committee.
Okay, what is the recommendation of the chair? Madam Chair, as your committee didn't vote on that, do you wish to have this, bring this back for a formal vote? One second.
I think, yeah, it didn't go through the proper process. So I think either our committee needs to go back through this, or we take a vote and it can get sent back to us.
All right, now let me ask this. Given the information that's been provided, is there any more information that your committee would decide different, or is it right for the vote?
I think there would be a different decision from what I've gathered.
Okay. All right. Rabbi, I'll hold on. Next round, I'll make sure you're the first. I will take you. Well, I just need to complete this one. Next round, I'll do an additional round. So I'll call you for that. All right. Twyla. Hold on. We're gonna bring you.
We're gonna bring you a mic. Okay. It's for the folks online.
Thank you. I was just going to say that I think part of the concern that seems to be shared by other board members, including myself, is the approach more than the actual action, perhaps, because there are several ways to waterproof and structurally maintain a wall, and there is a certain responsibility of being a homeowner in a historical district that I think involves like rule following and also creative processes. And so like your contractor should understand the rules of the area where they're building. So I think that's what most people are concerned about.
Thank you for those points. Ms. Cohen.
Okay, I'm gonna give my question to Rabbi Behrman.
Sorry?
I'm gonna give
He's
it
going
over-
to get his time, so if you have a question, ask a question.
Okay, fine. So
You're
then,
right.
my concern. Oh, thank you. Okay, so my question is, was anything done to the front of the facade that is different from the historical look of the building?
Yes, if we look in the presentation that's in front of you.
Yes.
Keep back.
We restored the front facade, we power washed the brick above the store.
Sorry. If you look at the presentation in your packet, you'll see a side-by-side, well, actually, a tax lot photo, an existing, before construction photo, and then a final post-construction photo. So you can see how we power washed the brick above the storefront. It was painted white, and we restored it back to its original condition so that it's consistent with the entire block. We rebuilt the storefront, putting the two entry doors, residential and office, next to each other instead of separating them, and added historic detailing in a lower cornice to make it look a little bit closer to the tax lot photo instead of how I bought it, how I bought it, there was degrading like veneer brick on it and a roll gate, and it looked very much not in the spirit of the historic district and the street. So I did spend a lot of time with Landmarks on this building and meeting their guidelines and adding, new interesting design that I saw further down on Rogers to try and make it more
Historic
contextually-
looking, in other
Yeah.
words, to try. So the issue is what's behind the building?
Right, so on the rear facade, how
it's
I,
like
how I
a
bought the
sign.
building, it was brick and it had a parge coat on it. And what I originally wanted to do was power wash the parge coat off to expose the brick and then repoint the building. But when we tried doing that, the parge coat wasn't coming off. And we were afraid of destroying the brick by legally taking the parge coat off. And we didn't want to do that. So when we were researching other alternative ways to treat the back facade, we wanted to maintain the integrity of the brick, and we thought that this stucco product would do that. It is breathable. It would allow the brick behind it to.
Right. So what
Okay.
is?
No,
we have 10 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, no, okay, that completed that speaker's list. Rabbi Berman Rabbi Berman, where's your comment?
60 seconds. First of all, I just want to make clear that the board, I've been on this board for 10 years. When an applicant comes before a committee and the committee does not have quorum, that applicant should not be punished. So if they came before the committee, they came here now, we should not make them come. It's our incompetence. If they had not come, that's one thing. They came, they deserve to be heard. So my opinion is we should vote. That's number one. The second point is, but out of the board, it's the board's control. The board sent out the wrong link. It's that the applicant should not be punished for our incompetence. That's number one.
I agree.
That's number one. The second thing is, our job as a board is to look at the photos and say, is this in the best interest of the community? Is it nice or is it not nice? Am I supposed to be the DOB, the police department, to decide how they did? They did a beautiful job. Look at the photos and see, is it acceptable to the people that live on the block, or is it not acceptable? That is what we should be looking at, not the mistakes in the paperwork and the process. That's not our job. Thank you. They're coming here for corrective action.
Okay,
Thank
all right.
you, Beverly, for that.
Order of the day. All right, listen, as we need to move, and I think there are still some questions that with respect to the applicant. I think there's still some questions that the committee, the board has, and I want to make sure you get a fair shake. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to refer back to committee for a formal vote and recommendation. Moved by first vice chair, seconded by Beverly Newsom. Is there any objection to the referral back to the committee? Is there any objection?
I
Okay,
oppose.
Rabbi Berman is noted.
I oppose.
Ms. Cohen is noted as being in opposition. Who else is in opposition? Okay, hold on one second. Please give your name to the secretary. Joseph Hirschkoff. Penny Rosenberger. I'm sorry? Larry, what's the last name?
Lehrer, his last name is
Oh, Larry,
Lehrer.
I'm sorry. It's that time. Twyla Ware, please note. Jean Rene? Jean Rene.
Only the back of the building.
All right, I'm sorry, and you would like to, it's live.
Only the back of the building. Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
So pretty, they know.
With those objections, any abstentions from that motion? Okay, hearing no objections, no abstentions, the motion to refer back to committee has passed. It's going to go back, it'll be on the agenda for the housing committee, and they'll resubmit the recommendation. All right, City of Yes, housing opportunity, we need to get this done. Okay, City of Yes, housing opportunity, we need to get this done, we're already behind. I'm sorry? Economic, yes, economic development. We never voted on that last month. Okay, so City of Yes, economic development, it was on the agenda for last month. We did not vote on it. The chair has already given her synopsis. It's already been approved by the land use. It's been through the City of Yes subcommittee, through the land use, through executive. It's before the board this evening. Okay, are there any questions with respect to this resolution? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That should be for economic, I'm sorry. Economic opportunity, correct? My apologies. It's written as housing, it should be for economic opportunity. It's been presented by the board, been presented. Are there any questions with respect to that resolution? No, this has been, we approved it. It's been approved by the committee, by the exec. It's before the board. So there were the 18 recommendations that were done for economic development. The proposals have already been given to the board. Are there any questions? Yes. This is a vote to adopt this resolution. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Is there any objection to comments and consent to adopting this resolution for economic development? I call for a second time. Any objection to adopting by common consent? Okay. Well, I gotta call twice because some people don't listen. All right, Madam Secretary, please note. The resolution is adopted by common consent for City of Yes for economic development, economic opportunity. Landmarks has been referred back. All right, at this time, we are running out for the letter of support. I apologize at this time, we don't have time to consider it for this meeting. Understood. It's going to be a conversation. I will entertain a motion to table this to the February meeting. Do I have a motion? No. This is the letter of support for, okay, moved by Beverly Newsom. Do I have a second? Second by Benny Rosenberger. Is there any objection? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none. Any objection to adopting by common consent? First call. Any objection to adopting by common consent? Second call. Okay, hearing no objection, please note, SEIU is tabled till the February meeting. Letter of support is tabled till the February meeting. Okay, let's do this one because this is going to be important. Removal of board members. Item I, we need to get this done. We need to clean the house. So as I said, there are 3 members who are currently up. The recommendation has been done. It's for Maria Acosta. It's for Paul Pascal. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry? And for Shmuel Zafman. Yes. Okay, so again, this has been adopted by the exec. It's put on the agenda for this month. None of these members has been to more than 28% of the meetings from last, from when we first, from last April, May.
Yeah, right. Right, that's a good question. I agree.
Hold on. All right, we have a motion on the floor to table. And we have a second. Moved by Rabbi Berman, seconded, sorry? I'm sorry? It's not a rush, trust me. Okay, no. Okay, listen, let's come back to order. All right. Ms. Moses, do you have a question?
Did anyone reach out to them and ask them? They have
Correct.
I send them the thing.
Understood, but at this time, given, yeah. Understood. No, absolutely understood, and but the motion on the floor is to table. Is there any objection to table? What? Any objection to tabling?
We got about 1 minute left.
Okay, voice vote. We're going to do this by voice vote. All those in favor of tabling, say aye. All those against tabling, say nay. Y'all making it? As a practical matter, we need to get out of here. Let's please just table this matter, because we're not going to be able to vote on this. Okay, we are going to table this matter. All right, at this time, okay, members of CB9, members of CB9. Members of CB9. At this time, as we have run out of time, as we have, our time has expired in the room, we are going to need to adjourn the meeting. So what will happen is, any item that has not been considered for this meeting will be tabled automatically for the next meeting. Are we clear? Are we clear? Yes. And you know, and just as a quick note, this is what happens when we don't carry our water.